look at the wonderful gift that is brought me, all this abundance of all of this. And this is what I mean by winning the lottery. It's not a literal sense. It's the gift that comes with it. It's the empowerment that comes with it. And it's the ignition of it that enables us to really see beyond our mind. Did you see that little flip?
Oh, I did. Oh my God. You did. Well, you probably saw the look on my face. Like I looked up right as it did. Oh, I cannot wait to go back through that video. Hey, so I hate to interrupt in anything that you were in the middle of, but you pointed it out and I saw it too. And we were not on double screen. We were probably on single screen. So people didn't see the look of shock on my face. Please tell people what just happened.
Before we came on the call, we were talking about different beings that come in. And I'm in Sweden at the moment, and I work from this space which is in the basement. But it's really close to a lot of trees and a lot of beautiful nature beings, a lot of elementals. And within this corner of the room, and it sounds really crazy, so let's just sort of leave the ego to one side, is there's a portal that comes through from the fairy realm. And they come and visit all the time. And on my channel, when I do my videos, an awful lot of the time they fly through, and they either present themselves as little orbs that come through, or they come and they fly at the camera, and you literally sort of see them coming out. Just to really see beyond our mind.
There's a reason you found this video. These stories awaken something ancient inside us. Hit subscribe and stay on the path with us. My guest today is Nicola Light, who had a near-death experience by drowning at the age of 5. She has no memories of her life before that point in time, and she thinks that a higher version of herself may have walked in. She is a healer and a sound transponder, and today we are going to go very deep because she also works with the Galactic Council. So Nicola, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's actually absolute pleasure to be here. And before the recording started, we started to get really very sort of close in understanding each other, and your resonance of energy is so beautiful. And I'm sure your listeners will be feeling your energy really sort of coming at them, so which is beautiful to feel. So thank you.
Aw, that just makes my day. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So, Nicola, you had this near-death experience when you were 5 years old. So, a lot of times I'll ask people what their life was like before that, but you don't remember any of what your life was like before that. So,
No.
I know you remember your near-death experience. So, do you want to just tell that in any way you would like to share it?
Yeah, no, sure. It's quite an interesting sort of story, really, is that it was always told by my mother about what actually happened. So, so the story that was told to me during the journey of it was that I was around about the age of 5, and I was at the beach. And in England, we have beaches that are on slightly different levels, and in between each individual level, there are these like little pathways, little bits of wood, and I would have jumped from one side to the other. But one side was very shallow, but the other side wasn't. It wasn't shallow at all. And I thought, well, being at the age of 5, as the story was told, was that I was jumping from one side to the other, nice and merry, going about my day, and then I jumped into the other side. The memory that I remember, and not with the story that was being told to me, was when I woke up with my eyes wide open and saw a massive amount of crowd of people around me. And apparently a young teenage boy actually pulled me out, resuscitated me, and then brought me back into the reality. Um, and it was sort of quite an interesting sort of perception of reality, that I knew to a degree what was going on. I knew who I was, so it wasn't that I lost my memory or anything, but what it gave me was this sort of sense of, okay, I'm here, sort of thing. And it was very confusing, my childhood, because I didn't have any memories of when my sister told me, which is quite a funny story, but not. that I had jumped on her leg and broke it when she was a lot younger, when we was playing about. And I thought, well, I can't remember breaking my sister's leg as a, a little child running around. But so all of these sort of missing memories were sort of present in my understanding of my childhood. So that sort of kept me in a very sensitive childhood, that I didn't feel that I actually fitted in at school. I didn't have any resonance of really sort of deep friendships at school. I found everything very difficult at school with learning. And I remember as a child, of going into school with learning how to write the letters, but I didn't know how to formulate letters. So I would squiggle little thing, and as I wrote it, I remember distinctly that as I wrote it, I thought, oh my God, that's a masterpiece. And I took it to the teacher, and she was like, "What is this?" But I understand what it is now, because now I actually sign light code and I write light codes, which are symbols and dialects from the soul expressing itself. So I sort of have gradually unpacked within my mind what has happened through the experience of coming in at that point, as the soul really came in at that point. And then as I've awakened through my journey and into my remembrance, then I then see what it was that happened back here. So I don't have the intelligence of bringing over from the other side, but what I do have is the remembrance of that I actually don't remember anything from prior to that moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. So this is so interesting because a lot of times I'll ask people like, what kind of abilities do you have after your near-death experience? Well, when you're that young and you don't have the memories of what things were like before, I guess what I'll ask you instead is to explain what light codes are for people who have really
Mm,
not heard about them, they're not familiar with them, and
yeah.
tell me how you discovered what they were, because obviously you didn't know
Mm.
when you wrote that piece of paper and turned it into your teacher.
No, no, no. It's so what light codes are an expression of ourselves from the purest form of who we are. Meaning that through our hearts, we literally can express ourselves with our light, with our frequency. And it gets expressed through our five senses, through the written word, through creation, through our energetic field. So it's basically the soul is expressing itself beyond linear language. So either speaking English, French, German, etc. We speak a language which is filtered through the heart space, and it brings in a code. And these codes are remembrance codes. They also can be activation codes, releasing healing codes. So like a Reiki symbol, say, so it's the Seihei key, could be and seen as an expression of light code. And so we can use these codes to help us remember who we are. There's also what I would use as being a remembrance code. So they're either come activation, release, or remembering codes. So when we write code down, the soul starts to ignite the inner light wisdom. So everything that I've done through my journey from my awakening stage, which was around about 2012, is I started on a journey into deepening into myself. But as a result of meditation, energy work, so becoming a Reiki master, I started then to sign over the top of people's energy bodies. And then everything that I know and remember about myself now, as I've activated myself, is through my own codes. And I'm seeing this left, right, and center with an awful lot of people that are going through their ascension, is they're starting to speak a really strange, crazy for the ego mind language. It just starts to express itself through themselves. They may start using their hands and start sort of writing as if you're writing in mid-air. They might be scribbling on a piece of paper, maybe doing artwork, bringing in sort of codes and different sort of symbols. It's just a different way for us to deepen into our inner light wisdom and sparking that inner light source within, and just moving all of that junk in your trunk out of who you think you are, because we're so much more than what we are programmed and what we have in a belief system, you know, that your parents have told you, that your culture's told you, that the media and everything like that. It's all this illusion around us. But light codes, they just literally spark that remembrance within. There is, if somebody's igniting their light codes, honestly, it is such a gift. And that's a lot of the work that I do, is to actually help people understand that gift that they've ignited within, and then they then start to work through their energy, start doing their inner healing work. And so that's the sort of work that I do. So light language, if anybody out there has actually, you know, in the light language closet, you are missing out on your gifts. So get to understand what it is that you are bringing forward, because it's super powerful.
Since it has the word language
Yeah.
attached to it,
Mm.
if I think about languages on this planet, there are lots of them. We have a few
Yeah.
that dominate the planet, right? But
Mm-hmm.
there are also dialects. Like in India, you have a national language, and then you have a language in your state, and then you have a dialect that's specific to your community.
Yeah.
Does light language follow that same kind of protocol? So if you have a light language and you've uncovered this light language that you remember, I'm going to use the word remember, and
Good. Yes.
somebody else has it, would you be able to understand each other? Or is it just as different as if I went to China, I'm not going to understand anything?
It's a soul to soul resonance and a frequency of sound that is created. So if you've had a connection, say your starseed family member or your soul tribe is coming from the Pleiades, say, it would hold a resonance of a dialect that would hold that frequency of light. So when I would speak to somebody that's ignited Palladian light code, say, which is my primary focus codex, then I would literally hold a conversation with that individual by coding with each other. The ego would say, what's going on here? Don't understand it, because our language that we speak is from a physical perception of reality. So we label things, you know, like a pen, you know, and you know, this is my hair, this is my face. So we label things. But what codes do is it gives you a symbolic transference of information, because the universe gives us information through analogy, through symbol. And so we've got to pass the mind and step into the heart. And then the frequency is felt. There's a big difference with the code that comes forward, the language that the soul is speaking through the voice, through the throat chakra, the true expression, the authenticity of the soul is speaking through this medium here when we call it light language. It's always filtered through the heart. It's always organic and it's in flow. There's no thinking involved within it. And this is when we are too much in our mind, we're going to reject codes coming forward because I want to understand what she is saying. It's not that. It's the universe communicating through us so that we can remember who we are, but it's encoded and it holds the resonance of energy of what is needed for that individual to remember who they are. If the codes from Pallades, the codes will hold an activation of releasing emotions from the physical body, because we hold a lot of energy in our body that we hold on to this person, that person's, and the trauma within. And so the Palladian light codes would invoke actually emotional releases. So normally if I actually speak to people in Palladian, they tend to start to want to cry, which is, you know, which you could say for the ego is not very nice, but the emotion comes forward because it's something that you haven't released in the past. you look at the code of Arcturus, then the codes are really, really quick, but they're very technological. They upgrade the energetic field so you can hold more frequency in the DNA structure. And then there are other beings that I work with that would actually then strengthen the energy field. So there are many different beings that I work with that the codes hold different frequencies to work within our energy. So it's an interesting journey, but you've got to be open to receive it past the mind and stepping into the heart.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit as you were talking about that? It reminds me a little bit of when people describe that they get a download. A
Yes,
download is a piece of information, and
yes,
it's usually just like a clear cognizance. It's a knowing, you know what the
yeah,
gist of it is. Maybe, you see it kind of go like this, but it's a fully formed idea in a packet. And it's kind of
yes.
what it sounds like you're saying when you're talking about these light codes.
Yes, absolutely. So when I started on my journey, when I remember I said I was going through meditation, so I'd gone through the life trauma bit, all the dark night of the soul, which is all that story, all that within it. Meditation, meditation, meditation. I had a Kundalini awakening. I physically felt that golden elixir coming at the base of my spine. I was really very surprised when this sort of like pulse of energy started like poof, and it moved up through my spinal column. And then I then was like, well, okay, what's this then? So then I went into energy healing, and then the codes came in. But every time that these codes came in, I was downloading the data as I was releasing and making space within me. And that ignited the remembrance. And I was like, whoa, how do I know this? How do I know this? I just don't know. I don't know how I know this, but I know this. I don't outsource information. I've got books behind me, but they're just there for display. I Everything that I hold is from my inner light wisdom. We can search outside of ourselves, which is beautiful, which we need a point of reference. We do need a point of reference with what's going on, because we're waking up into something that we don't understand. We're trying to sort of sponge up information. So we're going to have that sort of journey when we're, sort of researching into these beautiful channels like your own channel here, is that we then sort of go like, okay, so this is happening to this person, and these are the tools that you can use, and then this is meditation, and then you can go off and do your own journey, do it your way, be empowered with your awakening journey. Then if you've got light codes coming in, absolute super bonus. It's like winning the lottery. Your codes are your codes. And once you've got that in momentum, where you start to understand what you are expressing, then the world's your oyster. Because if there is something you need to clear, because you see that there's an emotional trigger within you, you literally honor the emotion that's moving through you. Then you tap into higher self and you go, okay, you've got some code to, you literally get a prescription from the universe and get a download. It's so crazy. It's so amazing. And it's got me to where I am now, where I'm assisting people through their understanding and working through the trauma of it to enable them to actually ignite their own codex. And then this is just, it's not going to be for everybody. Not everybody's going to be coding the way that I code or the way that other people code. Like yourself, you have this beautiful energy resonance running through the heart. It's still light code. It's still the expression of the soul through the heart. When we look into your face and into the energetic field and connect heart to heart, we're downloading the data in our connection. It's heart intelligence we're tapping into. And that's so important. It's all through the heart.
So when you were talking, you said something that kind of piqued my curiosity, and you said understanding that you're getting the light codes when you're going through your awakening is kind of like winning the lottery. So when you
Yes.
said that, it made me think, well, winning the lottery isn't super common. That only happens to a few people. Do you think that right now, where we are energetically as a species, that it is still going to be the exception, not the rule, that somebody is downloading and connecting with their light codes here?
Mm. So the interpretation of it can come from different angles. You could look at it literally as winning the lottery, but we could win £10 on a, sort of a couple of balls on the thing. So we're all going to win the lottery, but to certain degrees. Okay. When I first ignited my light codes, my higher self said to me, "It's like you've won the lottery." Okay. And at the time I actually thought that I actually, at the time, to be honest with you, I actually went to the local shop and bought a lottery ticket just in case she was telling me I was going to win the lottery, but it didn't happen. um and so anyway, that's another story. But so I took it quite literally, and we can take these things really literally. But what I'm saying is that if we won the lottery, we'd be like, oh my gosh, look at this gift that the universe has brought me. Look at the wonderful gift that is brought me, all this abundance of all of this. And this is what I mean by winning the lottery. It's not a literal sense, but it's the gift that comes with it. It's the empowerment that comes with it. And it's the ignition of it that enables us to really see beyond our mind. Did you see that little
Oh,
flip?
I did. Oh my God. You did. Well, you probably saw the look on my face. Like I looked up right as it did. Oh, I cannot wait to go back through that video. Hey,
Yeah.
so I hate to interrupt in anything that you were in the middle of, but you pointed it out and I saw it too. And we
Yeah.
were not on double screen. We were probably on single screen. So people didn't see the look of shock on my face. Please tell people what just happened.
Before we came on the call, we was having a good sort of resonance, sort of soul tribe members, soul sister, sort of vibration vibes going on. And we were talking about different beings that come in. And I'm in Sweden at the moment, and I work from this space which is in the basement, but it's really close to a lot of trees and a lot of beautiful nature beings, a lot of elementals. And within this corner of the room, and it sounds really crazy, so let's just sort of leave the ego to one side, is there's a portal that comes through from the fairy realm, and they come and visit all the time. And on my channel, when I do my videos, an awful lot of the time they fly through, and they either present themselves as little orbs that come through, or they come and they fly at the camera and you literally sort of see them coming out. So we saw sort of like an energy pulse back. So I'm sure we'll probably be able to sort of link that up and sort of replay it. Um, Having this sort of darker color background on the paint here actually makes it easier to see, because when we're looking into a different realm of understanding, they're showing themselves at the vibration that they're at. And because I keep this space really clear, because the codes that I reach are really high vibrational codes, I have to make sure that my energy is running up at its optimum. Because a lot of the codes that I bring forward, it is I sort of plug people into high levels of consciousness. So I work with a lot of high vibrational beings. And so as I'm moving that energy into this space, it's almost like a cocoon space of high frequencies. So then they start to show themselves. So I hope that during the rest of the call that we get some more flying around. So
I am
yeah,
so
the
excited
fairies.
because when we were talking about this, we had a pretty cool conversation. What I
Mm.
saw was not an orb. It looked like it was bigger and it looked like it had a little bit of dimension and structure to it. And it was kind of a milky, almost see-through, but it was not, it was
No.
something. I cannot
Yeah.
wait to go
I
back to
know.
this
I'm so
video and
used to it. I'm really so used to it. I was sitting down here with my partner actually, and I said, I wonder if we can invoke them in. And we were just sort of sitting on the chair that I was here. And my partner was like, but until you actually see it, there's nothing going on in this room. There's no sort of sparkling lights or anything like that. It's, yeah, I've got a little candle running in the background there, but
it
it's
was
not
not
going
that. This was
that
not a
up,
shadow. It was clear. And it's funny because we did set the intention of having this happen. I had completely forgotten about it. And when it happened, like
Mm.
I have to go back and look at myself on the camera because I was absolutely
I
shocked
saw
when that
your
happened.
face.
So since we're talking about this,
Yeah.
I'll
Mm.
share that there was a near-death experience. A near-death experiencer who was riding a bike in the woods. His bike flipped, he hit his head. And when he was coming to, or in his near-death experience, he saw the fairies. And when he was coming to, there were different sizes. They were everywhere. They were sparkly. They were speaking to each other. He could hear what they were saying, but he had never had a thought that anything like that would have existed. And he was like, they were absolutely real. And you were, telling me about yours. So what are these fairies?
Yeah, they are, so they're interdimensional within this reality and realm. Okay, so we have different levels of understanding interdimensionality. Okay, so we have within Gaia, we have different realms of reality, and they hold different vibrations within each energetic field. And where we're resonating at a lower frequency, because we're more in mind and body, and hold a lot of fear in the body, a lot of anger and sadness, the vibration that we hold within ourselves can only perceive reality through our five senses. When we're looking into different realms of reality, we start to then look at the connection with Gaia, the trees, elementals. We move into the Fae. You might move into earth angels, dragons, all the perception of reality that we might think is a little bit sort of made up fairy tale stuff. It's not, it's actually more reality than this illusionary field that we think that we are experiencing. And as we sort of wake up into these other realities, we start to tap into that intelligence that starts to want to ignite within us, to remember that we also hold the connection within ourselves, this multidimensionality. So the Fae sort of comes in and they assist me a lot of the times with energy that's running through somebody. If there's a lot of childhood trauma that might come forward, they're very, 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 very mischievous. They they make me laugh all the time. They sort of give me like little songs in my mind, and sometimes I feel them perched on my shoulder. It sounds absolutely crazy for the ego. My ego's kicking and going like, "You sound a little mad. You sound mad." But okay, so this is my yeah. I'm an experiencer. And so because I've experienced it, there's once you've seen, you can't go back. If somebody could tell you a story of it and you go like, yeah, okay. But until you've experienced it, then it's like, it's a bit woo-woo. But anyway, in the beginning of my journey, they used to come in on my shoulder and sit there and then speak in my ear. And then I'd send them through to somebody else's energy. And then they would be dancing down the aisle in the supermarket as a result of fairies hanging about with them. So they are very high vibrational, but they bring that childlike innocence back into the human. So they have that beautiful effect around us that they sort of, peekaboo, it's that sort of energy that they hold. And then as we rise into um, dimensions above us or perceived above us, then we're looking into the realms of galactic beings, multi-dimensional aspects of ourselves that aren't necessarily on Earth plane. They're interdimensional from different planetary systems. And then there's outer reaches of that, higher frequencies of consciousness that won't hold a sense of form of body, that then would be more light beingness. So it's all consciousness. It's a plethora of consciousness. And we're all part of everything. We're part of every single thing in this universal system. It's oneness. This is what we speak of. But what we aim to do is to release all that we are not through our body and the perception of our mind, connect back into the soul so we start seeing and connect with our inner light wisdom, spark the intelligence into the third eye so that we conceive and perceive through the illusionary field, which keeps us capped in our minds and our body. And then we can then start to download that consciousness from each varying sector of who am I. And that download of information can come from different frequencies of yourself. So everything that you connect with, as long as we connect with our hearts, we can then use our discernment into, yes, this is of the light. So I always say this also, because we have a dualistic experience upon the earth and in this reality, if we focus on the light, then we focus on the light and we then get what we want out of reality. Our intentions are to work in the light, to ascend, meaning then we then bring in consciousness that will be for the betterment of humanity and not the suppression of humanity, which is the other end, which we're not going to go into. It's dualistic, but we leave them to their own devices. So we have an awareness of all of that density that sits within the reality. We don't want to add to the pot of the illusion of it to give them any power. So we focus on our upward movement and we allow ourselves to heal through the journey. So it's a beautiful thing. Once you get into the understanding of it through the experience, then it's just make it really simple, you know.
So while you were talking about all of that, you mentioned the Galactic.
Yeah.
And there are probably a lot of people who are listening who maybe they've dabbled in it, maybe they've heard a little bit about it. But will
Mhm.
you talk a little bit about the Galactic as you understand it? Because I know you have been working with them as a light coder.
Yeah. So, so it was really difficult for me to understand it from my mind perspective. So I have my ego mind, which hasn't got a clue until I've experienced it, right? And then I have a higher mind, which is I know everything about myself, which is, I've got amnesia here, but I know everything. So I've got to balance it out. So through the experience of the downloads of the light codes that come through me, I gradually understood what it was that I was being shown. And if we look at a galactic aspect of myself that is holding energy and intelligence in a different star system in this now moment, right? This was a little hard for my ego to go. I was like, what? How can you be that and that and that at the same time? If we can then be everything all at once in this now moment, we can be this, 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 and this, and this. So we have fractals of the soul placed in different frequencies of experience and existence. So, as me, as in Nicola, within this physical body, I am in this reality, Nicola, okay? I reside as a fractal of the whole myself in this physical body, but I can connect to another aspect of myself and connect to that aspect. So my Palladian aspect help with bringing in codes to help people heal through their emotional states. I've connected with my Arcturian aspect that sits in another reality and realm that I can then bring in and then work with that energy of that consciousness. I also work with mantis, insectoids. They sound a little bit like, ooh, but they are very much in the realms of psychic surgery. So I do a lot of psychic surgery, working into the deep cellular structure within the physical body to help people move through dis-ease within the body. So there are many levels of consciousness that can come in and work through me almost like a medium. So I download the codes, work with somebody's higher self, and then whatever that person sees that they need to receive, I bring the codes down and they breathe the codes in from me, connect with our energy within a central column of light. So I'm broadening this out and trying to keep it tight for you. And then there's an exchange of energy through me, just as if I was, say, doing some Reiki in someone's energy field. I'm bringing codes in and they receive, they get the download. And then that is how I work with galactics. But they also come through in when I'm in meditation, in deep contemplation. And I get visions of information come forward. I get literal words in my ear that's very, very strange when you first get that through. You're like, so who's that? And you get this clear audience come in, visions come up, golden light codes that whiz past your inner vision. Um, So the galactics are us. And I think that, if we look at disclosure and people are like, we need to sort of connect with the galactics when they're going to come down and rescue us. It's like, we are the rescue team. We are on the ground, foot soldiers here, being guided by our star soul family members. We are boots on the ground. We are here already. But what we've got to do, Laurie, is we got to awaken our foot soldiers. And this is what we're here to do. So if you're in resonance, you're like, oh my God, what's happening here? I don't quite understand. Don't worry about it. That's your ego mind. Okay. There's this resonance of energy that your higher self is bringing you in to this video to say, listen to this, for you to then spark that intrigue, that inspiration of like, okay, what's that all about then? Let that energy that I'm transmitting, let the energy that Laurie brings with all these beautiful videos that she creates, to inspire you to just dig a little bit deeper and start seeing what it is that your higher self is trying to navigate you through this maze, so that you awaken into your heart and then you rise into your inner light wisdom. You don't need anything outside of yourself once you've got on that path of remembrance. In the beginning, yes, you need somebody to hold your hand and guide you through the journey, but don't see anyone as a guru. See somebody as an inspiration of like, if she can do it, so can I.
4 minute
I
mile.
start, yeah, absolutely. I started off, honestly, when I first started on my awakening journey in my dark night of the soul, I was going to go and actually commit suicide. I was so low in my vibrations of so low with everything that had gone on through my life traumas, that I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I even had voices in my head to go and do it the way that they were saying. I was like, okay, I'm going to go and do it. And then my ex-husband at the time, he had to give me a physical slap. Um, but at the time, you'd have gone like, whoa. But no, and it brought me back into my senses. I was like, what? Why would I go and do that? And I'm not belittling anybody that do make those choices, but it was something was in me that was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't live my life like I was living. And believe you me, I had everything. I had the big house, the kids went to private school, I had the four-wheel drive, I was going on holidays, I had a big dressing room in my house, and I had everything, but I still was not happy with where I was at, because I knew there was something more that I was here to do. And that ignition within me, that slap, actually got me back into my senses of like, I need to go and meditate. I need to do something. And that's where my journey started. Meditation, into breath work, and then into Reiki, energy awareness. Then the light codes come in. Then throughout all of that time, I'm unpacking through my codes and switching myself back on into remembering. It's been a roller coaster ride, years of hermit mode, of where I'm deeply going in, honoring my emotions, getting deep down and dirty into my deep core wounds, and still going through my healing journey. But I see it and work through it so much quicker now, where before it would have been stretched out like this. I'm feeling really. And now it's like I get an emotion come in. Okay, what's that then? Why am I feeling that way? This is not who I am. I am not anger. Where is that being held in my body? Allow me to then tap into the energy, express it, see it, to feel it. And we must honor our emotion, so that then that beautiful code can come through for myself. That's the way I work, is I literally just go into meditation and my codes come forward. We don't have code. The thing is we all have this gift, and the gift is breath, right? It is the most profound, beautiful element that we hold within ourselves, that we share with this world. It is our breath. Because everything that is out here that we think is space is consciousness. If we sit and we just anchor our breath in into our heart and we breathe the codes into our heart, we connect with the sun, we connect with the trees, we connect with everything around us. We start to download the information purely by the intention of our mind to do so is to receive. I am ready to receive. Bring me, ask, and we will receive. The universe will always provide us with what we need. And we breathe the code in, the code of consciousness. I'm talking light code. That's my little piece of the jigsaw puzzle. But for anybody else out there, breathe, breathe. Bring in the codes with your inward breath. Bring into the heart space. Bring into the lung to move into the blood so that the body starts to activate. So it goes into the solar plexus, down to the lower body. Get used to the energy flow. You're not just your mind and your body. Have an understanding of energetic fields. Go and read a book. Go and do a Reiki course. Whatever it is, search out energy force within your body, whether it's the meridian lines, the chakra systems. Tap into the breath of it. Get the energy moving through your body. Move your body. Do a yoga practice. Have a Tai Chi class. These things are already there. And then with that, with the outward breath, very simple. Keep it simple. Outward breath, intention, I let go. That's it. Breathe in, inward, out. That's all you got to do. You just got to breathe. It really is very simple, but we overcomplicate things in our minds. So step into the heart and breathe. It's the simplest format.
Wow. Okay, you covered a lot,
I know I cannot
lot of
talk.
things. No, 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 I don't mean it that way. I mean, there were a lot of things for people to kind of take in and to understand. And I think when
Yeah.
people are going through an awakening, you touched on a couple of little topics, and I want to come back to this because
Yes.
you said you have the power, right? This is
Yes.
your incarnation. You have a lot of power, but you did mention darker things that exist and how to work through the light. And
Yeah.
I think it's worth mentioning that
Mm.
one of the things that I believe, and I don't know where your stance is, but that's why I'm asking this, is that one of the universal laws is that we have free will. And what I
Mhm.
mean by free will, I don't mean that to be that somebody here can't, because people do things to us all the time. They cut us off in traffic. They steal things from us. Sometimes they do great things, but people impose their will on us when they're in this human body. But where I want to delineate this is on the beings that are not in a human incarnation. I believe personally that nothing is able to penetrate your free will unless you have given them permission to do so. And so when we're talking about working with the light beings, I would love for you to share how you protected yourself when you were coming out of your awakening in 2012, because you
Mm.
didn't intuitively know all of these things. We've had to learn
Yeah.
these things and pick up these things, and these are the little gold nuggets. So what would
Yes.
you tell somebody who's watching that
Mm.
they
Mm.
need to be aware of from a free will standpoint to make sure that they are protecting themselves and working only in the light?
Beautiful. Absolutely. I love everything that you say because we need to see that there is a dualistic experience, but we only give our power away if we give our power away by our intention to give it. Now, sometimes we are unaware, so we're not conscious of the fact that our energy may be siphoned, say. And so when we're waking up in our journey, then we're working through remembering how to actually be sovereign in our own right. So we reclaim ourselves back by literally sending out a pulse of energy to say that I am sovereign, that I am of the light, that I am activating my energy force from within. I do not aligned to anything outside of myself that wants to come in and saddle up beside me, because I know that everything that I need to know is inside of myself. So I would say to people is that to truly go on your life force path into the light is to ignite the light within. Everything is inside of yourself. Your free will sits within there. If you're in your mind, then you could perceive it to be in the dualistic experience, because when we're in a lower vibration, we have duality. So we can play in light and dark. But if we're on our awakening journey and we are breathing in that light frequency, and we tell ourselves that we are sovereign, and we see that we are the light, then we are the light. It's through the intention of the mind and the breath that we can take and the body movements that we can make. It's very intuitive, it's very organic. So I would say to your viewers is that of anything that you can take away from today is this wonderful expression that I was listened to when I was searching with a beautiful guy called Matt Calm. And it was at a point when I was in my very low vibration. And he gave this particular mantra, which was, I am the light I am. I am the light I am. And when I was going through a little bit of a low ebb at that time, and I felt that there was some energy that was being siphoned off of me because I was starting to shine my light, I stated that. And I stood there in front of the mirror and I said to myself, I am the light I am. And as I did, my energy just upsurged because I saw that I was the light. So seeing you are the light, you are. Because we are creators, the words that we speak about ourselves then create what we are. If you say words that you are not, which is an illusion of self, you then create that you are that and this and that and this. I can't do it. Okay. I'm angry. Okay. I'm the light. Okay. So universe does not see through the eyes of is it good or bad. So whatever word you speak and speak into action is what you will be. So a simplistic way of actually guarding your energetic field is saying, I am a sovereign being of light, and there is nothing that can enter my energetic field because I am amplifying it from within, and all of this energy is preventing any darkness to come in. And if I want to turn off my light, I just go and turn that light off in the corner there, and then there's shadow. So what I do is turn the light on. Just turn the light on. That's all you need to do. Just turn the light on. And then there will be hardly any shadow. And then you'll see the shadow and you'll work through the shadow. And then you are the light. So the words we speak is critical for the evolution as we start to wake up. So if you found this video here on this wonderful channel of Laurie's, then speak your truth of who you are, not who you are not. Okay? The illusion of self. Just catch yourself all the time. Are you speaking yourself down in a negative context? Therefore, you are. So, simple answer is just speak it and through your heart space and know it and honor that.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love the mantra that you had everybody say. I love what you shared about Matt Kahn. And what's
Mm.
funny, Nicola, is when you said the words in the very beginning of this, I am the light, I got goosebumps and I happened to glance at my little timer that I use for editing, and it said 44 minutes and 44 seconds. What does that mean to you?
Well, the simplicity of numerology is the universe speaking through analogy of what we perceive the numbers to be. And those numbers to me are divine, pure essence, code, frequency. It's, it's just profoundly so beautiful. You can't make this
I
up.
know.
one
I say that
fourth.
all the time about signs and synchronicities. I just can't make this stuff up.
I know, right? And I love it. I love it.
Me
Once you
too.
get past what I call the earth, which is all the emotional state and all the baggage and all this and that, then everything becomes so much of a joy to be on this journey. Everything unfolds and it's like a treasure hunt. Everything is like a gift from the universe. The synchronicities come in and it's just so beautiful once you get past all of those distorted little sticky bits. Keep that energy flowing through you. Keep the words flowing so beautifully in a positive nature. Work through all your junk in your trunk from your ancestral lines and all of that stuff. Once you're over the other side of it, it's really simple. But we get so stuck into the mind that we just then get into the soup of it. We become and identify with the trauma, and we
Yeah.
rise
We give our
above
power
into
away.
that. Yeah, yeah. Mm, giving the power away.
Beautiful. Well, I would
Yeah.
imagine there are people who are watching right now who are like, who is this beautiful woman and how can I find her? How can I work with her? So why don't you tell people what you do? Because when we introduced you, I
Mhm.
talked about you being a sound and energy healer. So what does that mean and how do you work with people?
Okay, so I work with people. So the sound and the energy is so the sound of the voice is through the code. So I would speak code. Well, I can speak a little bit for you in a minute.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would think
yeah,
it would be
yeah.
helpful for people to understand it and not be maybe as afraid of it.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And sometimes I even sing to people, which is so beautiful. The codes come forward in a little melody, in a remembrance code, which makes people cry because they're like, oh my God, I remember back at my galactic sense of being, my star family members. So I work with people. Um, in that they may have a trauma that they might want to work through. They might want to connect to high levels of consciousness. So some people might be healers already, so I upgrade their energy field. There might be somebody first on their journey. I'm bringing forward a program which is called the 8 program. So it takes you through the whole 8 steps of balancing your energy and igniting your inner light wisdom. So I have that program. So so I work through a program with people, mentoring people on their spiritual journey, helping people with their light language of igniting it, remembering who they are, where their galactic origins are coming from. I also have a Udemy course. So I have about understanding and activating the light language. So I have lots of things that think are accessible for people to obtain information at a lower price rather than working one-to-one. So if you want to work one-to-one, it would be sort of connecting to higher levels of consciousness, um, and sort of plugging yourself into that energy, helping you sort of upload that data, helping you release the information within the physical body. Um, so it's mainly that sort of journey modality of connecting people to high levels of consciousness and understanding light codes. I also have a YouTube channel, which is sort of growing very slowly, not like your channel. It's sort of like whizzing by so
Well,
beautifully.
it's so funny you say that because I saw you have 1,500 videos. Like, I don't think people understand the journey to this. I've done over 400 videos. They're not all on my channel, but that's how many I've created. This has been like a 3.5 year journey to get here.
Yeah, we just, there are
We're doing it
levels of
because it's
everything,
what
isn't
we're
there?
called to do, right?
Yeah. And I must say, Laurie, honestly, the whole journey of my YouTube channel has been me actually being very public in my healing journey. And if you look at the very beginning videos, it holds the same sort of information that's coming through time and time again, but I'm deepening into the understanding of it. So you'll see my authenticity run through at the very beginning of my journey of not wanting even to sort of sit in front of camera. And then you'll sort of see the sort of progression of me maybe sitting there in my pajamas in the beginning of my journey when I was used to be with my ex and sort of hiding away and just sort of doing a few videos. And now I'm sort of bringing in wisdom and codes and explaining about the energetic flow. So on my YouTube channel, I bring in codes and help people understand what it is that they can do when they connect to their energy. And then I bring forward some codes, and then with my whiteboard that I have to my side here, I start to do little drawings about how to explain about understanding your energy flowing through you with high levels of consciousness. So my big thing is about people really understanding energy and their emotions. So yeah, so it's Nicola Light on YouTube. NicolaLight.com is my website. So sorry, I ranted on there. I do tend to overspeak sometimes. That's ego, judging myself. So ego, stop. No, it's all good.
It's all good. It's exactly
It's all
unfolding how it's supposed to. And one of the things I want to say is like nobody who really gets into YouTube should get into it because they're trying to make money doing it. These are labors of love. It takes a long
Mhm.
time for these to evolve. And I think that authenticity is actually what propels it to either do what it's, meant to do with whatever you're trying to create. So
Yeah,
I think that's important
absolutely.
to keep it authentic.
My high self always says, don't worry about any sense of number. Because
Yeah,
if you're meant to meet somebody that comes on and sees you through the YouTube channel video, that one person comes in and you have that connection, then that is the purpose of being present and presenting on the channel so that it reaches the people that need to hear the message. It's not about
exactly.
numbers or any of it. It's about connection, and we need to come together. It's so important, especially with sort of artificial intelligence coming along, which is a completely different subject. But we give outside of ourselves the ability to assist us with our healing. No, 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 no. Go inside. Everything is inside of you. If you have a question, your answer is sitting inside of you. You've just got to connect with it. It's all in your heart. You have the power to do it. So nothing outside of yourself. Go inside, okay? And we're just guiding you through the journey of it and showing you how we did it. Make it your own. Be empowered on your journey. Reclaim back your sovereignty of light. Know who you are. We are powerful creator beings. It's very important to step up and forward on, and then we step into our mission work. Get that filled up cup of the energy running through us, and then bring your joy into this reality, you know?
And the
Yeah.
reason that the power is inside is because truly there is nothing we are not. We are all the collective, this individuated me, this individuated you, and you watching is an illusion to create contrast for the experience of the collective. So
Yeah.
that's why the power is within, because you can tap into all of it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And then as we sort of release all that we're not, all of that trauma, all of that lower vibration of fear, anger, and sadness, when that energy's moving through us, there is no dis-ease within the body.
Mhm.
The energetic field of the light body, the emotional body, the mental body is in pure flow. And with that sustained energetic field, everything comes to you as that creator of that vibration. So we move past that illusory field into the original template of the earth and our original template of our heart's desire. And that's what I talk about on my 8 program. It's that ignition of the wisdom within. We've just forgot we was this and that. We just got to start remembering. It's all in everybody's reach. If I can do it, then everybody can do it. Honestly, it's not an easy journey, but once you get through and you got to that tipping point, it is such a joy. It is such a joy to be of service. So
Well, there is something not everybody can do, and that is share light code. So you said that you give us a little sample of what it
yeah.
sounds like. Would you mind doing that before we go?
Yeah, da, kia moko shua kia ta. So what happens is sometimes I get a bit twitchy because as the energy comes in, it affects the sort of me tweaking the energy out of my chakra system, especially the back of the neck. So it starts to sort of look a little bit weird, but that's ego. Thank you. So I'm just going to breathe that energy in, get a little bit of a download so that I start to flutter. Kia, da gian da da. And I'm going to bring that energy all the way down to my base chakra. So I'm embodied. That So a message, please. Da ngya oye sha ka e ta. Thank you. An mo kreis in a krak in a krak tuk oish and e kran e kwashana kitane e an amma ka ishan taka ea tat anaki tuko umma lukush na kai itana a dan ana lukush na kai ina kulasha tuk unno kulashundu garishi man anta lashi an koyan shumakite e malo shankite na ishana kitana a. So the energy that's coming through that holds that vibration of the sound is all that we've been speaking of, is about the connection to high levels of consciousness and allowing it to flow through the embodied state to allow you to awaken within you all that beautiful light, and all of that energy will be outwardly seen by all. Elagianto varna bashangrakienta, elamagrakia anto valu shangieta nasha. And just remember that your body is not who you are. Just allow the body to come online and let it do its thing. It knows how to do it all, but we try and control it with our mind. We try to control it with our thoughts. No, 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 no. Let the body do its thing. Let the body organically breathe itself intuitively. Let your body move itself and start to tingle and allow yourself to feel the energetic field. And with that, embodying, bringing it all down, right down to your heel for your healing journey, bringing it down to the foot as you stand upon the land. It's the soul of the foot for a reason. The soul brings the soul into the embodied state. The heel for the healing journey, bringing all that subconscious energy down into the foot. The feet are so important, so take care of your feet. So it's the heel for the healing journey and the soul for the soul remembrance. Once you're fully embodied, then you're just going to be in flow state. You're just going to ignite all of those points of the energy field. And that's where then we start to ignite our inner light wisdom.
Was
There.
there a specific message? Because I did, the only word that I could understand
Da,
was Anunnaki. I heard that one time
da.
when you were going through. Was there a specific
Mm.
message, or is that not how it works?
Okay, let me do my yeah. Moko shumakiata tokolo shumakiata da ta ai o shumakiata. Let me just ask. Alakia tokomolo shumakiata and moko shumakiata da ana a. So the information that's sort of coming forward is actually a call forward for those souls that are in that resonance of energy. We perceive the energy of the Anunnaki as to be a bad construct of consciousness. It is not. It's a dualistic experience. So the perception of the reality of this consciousness, or these beings that came here and they did this and did that, is that it's a story. So the call of the souls that have been incarnated into this system are from that store of energy from that star system. And a lot of the souls got trapped in the incarnational looping system. So what we're calling for is for the souls that to come forward that hold that resonance of consciousness held with the embodied state. So it might be through the lineage, it might be a soul of an ancient soul that's been upon the planet but trapped in the illusionary field over eons and eons and eons. So what we want to do is we want to awaken the light workers so they start to get on track into their remembrance, so that they can then rise and ascend out of this false matrix. So what they're showing me is that yes, there is a call of consciousness of this certain star family members. So if you hear the call, it might be that your star lineage is coming back from that source of incarnation back in that epoch of time and space. So there's a lot of information that is held within that codex, as well as a projection of what I interpreted with my understanding of it. But the deepening in of it is that the code that you're being called back by your star lineage. And that is actually, yes, you're absolutely right, is the Anunnaki. Now,
Okay.
don't see them
Wow.
as bad, you know. There was a
Mm.
lot of Anunnaki that came here that held a very light vibration. It was only a few that actually then dictated the fall of humanity. So, and there's, there's big stories behind that we're not going to go into today, but if you hear the call within those codes and into remembrance, it might even spark people into actually start to express their codes themselves, which I do quite a lot with people, start to ignite their inner light wisdom. So,
Well,
yeah.
Nicola, thank you so much. You are a first. I don't think I've had anybody speak light codes on the show before. So thank you for doing that. But more than that, thank you for your vulnerability. I learned a few things. I never had a fairy come on the screen before in a video. So I'm super excited to go rewind and watch that. But most of all, I want to thank you for what you are doing, for your part in waking up the collective consciousness. It is so needed right now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let's get everybody up online so that they can then assist those around them. And as we all wake up, all these ripples are going to come in to assist humanity in their rise.
And
It's
of course,
time.
everybody watching is a massive part of that. This show would be nothing if not for your support and love. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Next up, check out this playlist of other NDE interviews. Please like and subscribe. It really helps this channel to grow so I can bring you more content. Thank you for watching. I'm so glad you're here.